One of the things actually by Alcoholics Anonymous that I love is that the first thing you have to do is go, my name is Pete and I'm an alcoholic. So the first thing you do is you acknowledge what you are. Because quite often we know if you're an alcoholic, you kind of sometimes say, oh, I could give up any time I want to. I'm not really addicted. I don't drink until it's 12 o'clock. As if, because I've got someone I know who does that. I don't drink until it gets to 12. You go, right, okay, there really is a problem here. And the first step is to acknowledge the problem. This is why Columbo is such an interesting program. One of my favorite programs. It's so different from any other detective series. In a detective series, you've got a crime and nobody knows how it was done or who did it. And then at the very end, you find out. But in Columbo, it tells you right at the start who did it and how they did it. So the question is, why do we like Columbo? And it's partly because we enjoy seeing how Columbo takes the story that the murderer tells about the situation and he gets it to fit with the reality of what really took place. And I think sometimes what we have to do as Christians is take the story we tell ourselves about ourselves. I'm a Christian, I'm a good person, I'm a kind, I give some money to the poor. And actually take that narrative and make it actually fit with who we really are. Which is maybe nice to our friends and family, but do we love in a radical way? Do we care in a radical way? And so that's kind of like this first step, acknowledging the material reality of who we are. Another big thing, and this is important for pastors, I think, is that doubt plays an important role in discovering what you really are. Take the example of marriage. People in America especially often get married very young. I've noticed this. So a young 20-year-old gets married and they often say, this person is the right person. God's told me to marry them. It's going to work out. And of course, as you get older, you realise that things don't often work out the way you think they're going to. But my issue is this, what if marriage is only really truly understood when you realise how horrific it is, how terrible it is, when you realise how horrible it is to ask someone to marry you? I mean, from one perspective, you're imposing yourself on another person. That's terrible, that's awful. You should be ashamed of yourself for imposing yourself on somebody else for the rest of their life. Or if you look at it from the other perspective, you could say, they're imposing their life on me. I could go off and do whatever I want and I'm going to be stuck with them until I die. So, and I don't even know if I love them sometimes, and I don't even know if they love me. And if you go through that experience and really go, this is madness, this marriage is totally ridiculous, and yet you still go, but I'm compelled to ask you, will you marry me? I'm compelled. I don't know why. I don't know if I even love you half the time. Sometimes I hate you, but you know what? I want to marry you. Then you discover what you really are. And so for me, in a sense, you've got to go through this experience of radical ripping apart, radical destruction, to find out what's really going on, to find out really if this is born in your flesh and blood, to see if you believed Christ or not. And that's why I think doubt is such an important thing, but we're afraid of it in the church. We hide from it.